Hey guys, this is Ryanartist64 here. I'm going to be doing a review for the new movie The Batman from Warner Brothers. To start off, I know this isn't my normal editing format, but I had promised to get the review out today, so I'm going to have to kind of ad-lib this real quick and just kind of get it posted. But I did want to give a basic synopsis to everything, and like I said, a good spoiler-free review for you guys, and I get that out there. So, with that being said, what did I think of the movie? Well, here it goes. Starting off, we're going to go with the plot and story. Generally, I feel like they did a pretty good job here. The movie is very long. It's about 2 hours and 47 minutes long. With that, it does keep a pretty decent pace. I have to agree with most people that have said I wouldn't really take anything from the movie. I feel like it's appropriate length for the content that it has, and I think everything that was in the movie needed to be there. As far as the action, they do a pretty decent job. I will say, amongst some of the Batman movies that have been released in the past, this one may have a little less action than people might expect it to. However, the detective work from Batman and just the kind of the analyzing of the riddles that the Riddler comes up with and how the plot moves itself along that way is good. I liked everything they did with the detective work. And it made this Batman a better iteration to me, because I've always enjoyed that part of Batman's character. So with that being said, overall, like I said, the plot, the writing is pretty decent. Overall, I feel like they did a pretty solid job with the writing, and I definitely want to see more from the people that made this film. I know there's been talk that the next movie is going to be focused on Arkham Asylum, and fans have been wanting something like that for a long time, so I am really excited to see where they go with that. As for the next category we have is the acting in general, and Robert Pattinson in this movie honestly delivered probably my favorite Batman so far. Overall, I would say that in combination of Bruce Wayne as well as Batman, I think he did a good job on both fronts. I'm sure there's going to be some people that probably would argue that there may be better iterations of Bruce Wayne than his, but I just really liked his Batman overall. It's one thing I'm not a fan of is, and this isn't an acting thing, this is just aesthetics. I'm not a big fan of the armored Batman with all the armor plates and everything. In the comics, he's always been, I mean, they state that, it's Bruce Wayne. He has enough tech to make high-tech materials for his suit that can help defend him, yet it still be flexible and stealthy. And I mean, he's meant to be a ninja. He's supposed to be able to be agile and get around. And all the armor plating and stuff to me seems a little off for the character. But I also know there's a bunch of fans of the Arkham Asylum games, and in all the games he's got armor plating in his Batsuit there as well. So it is what it is. That's one of the issues with Batman, is there's so many iterations now that whenever a new one comes out, it's hard to please everybody because they all have their own favorites. But I think Robert Pattinson did a great job. I was not going into this expecting him to do a poor job anyways. I've seen some of his recent work, and he's always done pretty good. Andy Serkis as Alfred doesn't get a lot of screen time, but what he does a really good job. It is a little jarring, I think, to see his accent. It's more, I think, his standard accent coming through, and it's not as proper of an English accent as you see in some of the different Alfreds that we've had before. We also have Zoe Kravitz plays Catwoman. Her Catwoman is a little more accurate, I think, than most, especially in her appearance. Obviously, is closer to the comics. And her fighting skills and how she carries herself through the movie, I feel like, is a lot more close to the comics. But she definitely has a different background. The movie gets into a different background story for her than what we have as her original origin in the DC comics. Penguin, Colin Farrell, amazing. Not only are the prosthetics that they did for his makeup look so realistic, and at no point does he look like somebody wearing makeup. It's really well done, and his portrayal of Penguin is flawless. Trying to think. Offhand, I don't have the names with me right now of the actor for the Riddler and for Commissioner Gordon, but both of them did a great job. The Riddler in this movie, especially when he finally is revealed, encompasses the feeling of the character of Riddler so well, and his appearance fits the character from the comics so well that he was truly a perfect choice in this movie. But I will say the Riddler is going to be a lot darker than most people are used to if they're thinking, Jim Carrey or the Riddler from the old Adam Wests. Obviously, it's a lot darker iteration in this movie. So with that being said, acting in general, good across the board. And now we get into the next category. The next category is going to be visual effects. Every visual effect that existed in the movie, if there is obviously CGI touch-ups and usage throughout the film, it's invisible. I didn't notice anything in the entire film that came across as CGI. And honestly, with the general setup of the film, it feels like they probably didn't use a whole lot of CGI at all. They didn't need to. Maybe some green screen here and there, but the film seems to be very practical, and that's definitely appreciated. It's a beautiful movie. Just the cinematography and the settings, the new design of Gotham, and how it, people kind of dress like they're in, 30s to 50s kind of range. Vehicles look like they're somewhere between the 70s and 80s, and yet people have cell phones and flat screen TVs and stuff like that. It's more modern there. So the combination makes for a really neat Gotham that I think kind of fits into also to the Arkham game style a little bit, which is nice. That being said, final verdict for the film. I feel like while they did avoid the just consistently done every single time and now overdone scenes that give an origin story to Batman, showing his parents being killed and him being turned into an orphan, they avoid those scenes. Obviously, we've seen it. It's been done to death in movies. However, there's such a deep dive in some ways in the background throughout this film of what his life is and how it kind of comes to the surface through what the Riddler has going on in the movie, that we do get to see a lot of Batman kind of behind the scenes as Bruce. And in some ways it's good, but in some ways that's something that, especially after all the Nolan Batmans, is something I'm kind of over. I feel like I want Batman in the movies to be a little bit more of a mystery and let him just be Batman and see it from the perspective of the villains who are terrified of this, vigilante that could come out at any moment and attack them. And I think when you get into his mind and into his life in between scenes too much, it kind of gets to be a little bit, I don't know, it seems unnecessary sometimes. But overall, I really like the movie. I would say that this movie is, if I were to rate the Batman films, okay, we're going to do this. We're going to go through a rating of all Batman films since the beginning and where I place them. I'm not going to include Batman versus Superman or the Justice League, even though I do put Ben Affleck's Batman higher on the list with the Zack Snyder cut. I did not like how he was portrayed in the Whedon cut of the Justice League. It was absolutely ridiculous. But his BVS appearance and his Justice League Zack Snyder appearance were very good. And I appreciate, where they went with that, more similar to the Frank Miller Batman graphic novels. And so I do appreciate that. But as far as straight up movies, I'm going to go with The Dark Knight. It's still probably the best of the films, with Heath Ledger's Joker, Christian Bale as Batman. overall, I think I still have to put that one as the number one. After that, however, though, I would put this new Batman movie as the number two of all time. Then I would say I would probably put in, this is a hard one. I would probably put in the original Batman, Michael Keaton. After that, then Batman Returns. Then The Dark Knight Rises with Christian Bale. Then probably Batman Begins. That is a really good movie, though. And for me, I'm sorry with the Joel Schumacher, but I'm never going to be a big fan of those. I know when you take into account that he was trying to have the actors on set act as if they were in an animated series, it makes what you see in the movies a little more understandable, but I just don't like the vibe of those films. So both of the Schumacher films, Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, are definitely going to be at the bottom, especially Batman and Robin at the very bottom of the list. Did I put Batman Returns in there? Yeah, I did. I said both of the Keatons. I'm really a big fan of Batman Returns. Catwoman, that movie may not be super comic accurate, but Michelle Pfeiffer's portrayal of Catwoman and Danny DeVito's Penguin in that movie are quite phenomenal, and I've always enjoyed that movie. So with that, let's get back to the other and give the score out for the new The Batman film. I'm going to give this one a 4.5 out of 5. It's pretty darn good, and I definitely, if you're a Batman fan at all, I suggest that you go check it out. And I think, after watching it, we're all going to be pretty hyped if they do an Arkham Asylum movie based in this universe. So with that, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.